Okay, welcome back, folks. We're back on the Real Work Show. I'm here with my friend Jose, who's sweating not just because he was on the Real Work Show doing the lightning round, but he's sweating because the temperature there is like 40 degrees more than it is where I am. How you doing, Jose?
Right. Doing okay. How about you?
You look much happier than I am. No, the Canadian winters. Yes, yes. We were just reminiscing about his experience with a Canadian winter in Toronto one year. What was the temperature that day?
It was minus 20 Celsius.
Minus 20 Celsius, yes. That'll get the blood
That's the cold. Yeah, that's the coldest that I've ever been.
Yes, yes. And do you miss it? Do you
No, no.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you so much for being part of the lightning round. As we always do, we want to have a little bit longer conversation. What I wanted to start with is this topic of MES, or Manufacturing Execution Systems. A lot of people might be interested in technology or information technology, but don't specifically understand what MES is. Can you give a little bit of a description, like what the heck is MES?
Yeah. So, in order to understand what MES is, you need to understand what the manufacturing process is. So, a manufacturing where you're building something, or you've got a process where there's product being started through one line, and then it goes through the whole process of manufacturing, testing, and then all the way till the end of shipping. So that whole process is being managed by a system called MES, or Manufacturing Execution System. I've worked with two type of environments. One is where it's a manufacturing where you're building something. Then there's a second one that's called reverse logistics, where you're repairing something. So you've got product that's already built, but it's going through a refurbished process. So you can clean it up, change a little bit of cosmetics, and then make it available to be resold later on. So those two type of environments are different, but they are being managed by what's called an MES system.
That's super, super helpful. So what you were just talking about in terms of reverse logistics, that an example of that would be when people return their iPhone or their Android device to a store, it needs to go back to some magical place to be refurbished or repaired or whatever. So that would be an example?
Yeah, so all of it's mainly on electronics, your cell phones, your Xbox, any type of devices that someone sells like refurbished. Before it is being sold as refurbished, it needs to go through a refurbished process.
Okay, that's super, super, super interesting. So, did you start in MES? Like when you completed I assume you did some kind of university or college program or something, and then started with your first job. Did you get started right in MES, or did you do some other work before that?
You know what? I actually started working with an MES. I was working as an IT technician, helping someone else that managed the MES system. So I started learning from this person, and that was like my first job or my first exposure to MES.
Very cool. And I think I asked you in the lightning round. Can you talk a little bit more about what you like about the MES environment versus, say, another IT job? Like, what do you specifically like about supporting technology that's supporting manufacturing?
So there are two things that I like working with on the MES system. One is because this system manages the process, and there are a lot of users that are using it throughout the day. It's normally on the companies that use it. There's a 24/7 production shift, so there's no time for any breaks or where there's product being built 24/7. So any changes that we do to it, it has a huge impact to the process, or it has a huge impact. Either benefits the process, or it affects the process and slows it.
Yeah, or breaks it and you get yelled at. Yeah.
Right. So those are the type of experience that helped a lot, because we've been gotten yelled at several times by users saying, "Hey, the system is not working," and it's been failing for the past, I don't know, hour, 2 hours. So when the thing that I do like is when you are working or trying to see, okay, so how can we improve the process? Sometimes something very simple as reducing one click
Yeah.
Just the reduction of one click, that saves a lot of money because
Wow.
it's being used for a lot of people. So imagine if you save 2, 3, 5 clicks, or if you're able to reduce the cycle, the process time of a user when
Yes.
he's working with one device,
Yes.
that that translates in a lot of saving on money.
Wow. So it sounds a lot of focus on efficiency, right? So,
Right. And the second piece that I like is that because normally the systems, like I mentioned, they're being run at 24/7. So it's a little bit challenging when you do any changes. You need to make sure that all of the steps that are being done to execute the upgrade
yes.
are being done in a in the correct way. Because, like I mentioned, anything you do wrong delays the whole process, or it could affect. So that, like the pressure of having it, hey, I've got only 1 hour to do this change, and
Sure.
it's when normally it takes 2 hours because you only got like a one maintenance hour window. You need to tackle it. So that stress,
Sure.
it's sometimes it's very good feeling.
So let me ask you a question. Like at 2 a.m. in the morning, does Jose's
Oh,
cell phone go off ever?
it used to go out a lot.
You've been promoted beyond that now, or what?
Yeah, yes.
You have staff who's it used to be pagers, right? Now it's all cell phones, I'm sure.
Yes, now it's cell phones, but yeah, now I've got staff to do that.
Very cool. No, that's very cool. So that kind of connects to another thing you mentioned when I asked you about stress. You know, every job has different stressors, or can have different stressors, and you mentioned specifically user requirements. So you just mentioned that in a manufacturing capacity, you could have. I'm guessing you could have hundreds of users or thousands of users at some of these facilities. So that could be a lot of requirements if each one of them have a different opinion about what you should be doing. Can you talk a little bit about the stress of gathering requirements from users?
Yeah, so uh, one of it's first because it's a system that's being used across several users. Like you mentioned, there's uh, probably 1,000 users that are using it
Wow.
normally, and all of the systems or all of the companies that I've worked, we always have a huge list of requirements or a huge list of enhancements. It never ends.
Right.
So the challenge is, okay, so how do you do add priority, or who defines with what's the priority on which feature you need to work on? That's the first task. Once the priority has been defined, then that's where the stress comes with the users trying to gather the requirements, because there are some users that they just say, hey, I need um, they they give you the idea of what they want, but they don't give you the details as to how they want it done.
Of course.
So trying to go into the brain of those users and pulling those ideas, and so they can express those ideas to you, so you can write it down.
Wow.
That's a huge challenge, and you need to be able to uh, know there are some techniques that you need to have to be able to push the user to so they can express those ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it's challenging.
I bet. Okay, so Jose, let's say that you're having conversations with three of your users. Like you go to talk to Bob and Susan and Judy. Good Spanish names. So you're having a conversation with them, and they have three very different opinions about how the system should work. Uh, what do you do with that? How do you come to, if you need only one answer, how do you figure out how to manage the very different expectations those users may have? Any techniques?
Yeah, yeah. So in that case, there's always like the escalation, or you need to go probably to a manager level or someone above them. They can take that decision, because yeah, there's you will always get into a position where there are 3 or 4 people that want the same. What they're asking is priority for them, but probably it's not a priority for the company. So sometimes someone else, a stakeholder or someone with a management authority, can take that decision. That's what we normally do.
Fascinating. Yeah, I'm sure some of the soft skills like negotiation. I mean, I'm assuming that it'll be really important that you maintain a good relationship with those users, right?
Right.
I'm sure they can. You can be a hero for them, or they can probably make your life miserable if they want to, right? So
Right.
very cool. And that
So
also. Sorry.
yeah, sorry. Going back to the user requirements, something that has helped me a lot when trying to gather the requirements is the usage of diagrams or something visible that the users can have to relate to,
Yes.
because sometimes they've got the ideas, but they don't know what you're trying to propose. So sometimes just go. I always try to use a whiteboard or to start drawing things and start. Okay, so this is what you're telling me. This is how it's gonna look like. Uh, am I am I am I understanding your requirement correctly? No. Okay, yeah. So here's what I'm understanding.
Absolutely.
So a whiteboard and drawing,
Yeah.
that's a very nice tool to help gather those
100%.
requirements.
Man, I miss. So let's talk about COVID. I miss a
Right.
whiteboard. Don't
Right.
talk to me about the whiteboard that's baked into WebEx or Zoom. A real whiteboard. Like, I want my marker. I want to be able to draw things. Man, I miss that. I'm totally with you. I have a friend that I always tease because you can't have a discussion without a whiteboard present. If you ask him a question, he's a really very, very bright guy. If you ask him a question, you can see the wheels turning. And immediately it's like, where's a marker? And it's like he speaks by drawing, but it's very, very powerful.
Yeah. So one of the things that we had in the office was we had whiteboards put across the place. I'm not sure if I can say this, but for example, I was able to go to Google, and they've got like all of their walls are kind of like whiteboards, so you can
Yeah,
write at any place or any time.
yeah,
So and that helps provides a creativity
yes,
and it starts a dialogue with the users.
absolutely.
So absolutely, you need to be able to use a whiteboard and try to have a whiteboard nearby your desk so you can start doing those drawings.
Absolutely. It's like a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Right.
So this all seems to connect kind of with the idea of patience, because you mentioned a kind of person that would probably not be very good at your work would be somebody that doesn't have a ton of patience. So I guess everything you just described would require a lot of patience, because sometimes, like you said, people don't know what they want necessarily, right? You've got to
Right.
you got to get all that feedback and then come up with a decision.
Yeah, because imagine someone that's not patient, they'll probably try and get the ideas, just slamming that users into the head, and
Yes,
it probably you can do that in the movies. You cannot do that in real life, right?
in real life, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Awesome. So this has been really, really helpful. Jose, we'll have some people that'll be watching that might be interested in a career in technology, and maybe they've never even thought of MES. Maybe they've never heard of MES before. And now they're thinking manufacturing execution systems. You can do things in technology that drive a huge impact across a ton of users, a ton of people, which is pretty powerful. Do you have any advice for somebody like that? Let's say the Jose that's 14 or 15 years old, that's got some interest in it. What are the kind of things that they should be doing to prepare for a career like you have?
So one of the good things on the manufacturing execution system is that there are different roles that you can have. You can be on the desk side where just doing coding. You can be working with the users where you can be like a business analyst and doing the gather translated that into a technical requirement to the
Jose,
developers.
Jose,
Yes.
just back up. You froze. Just back up a little bit. So just go back to like one of the good things, because you kind of froze.
Oh, sorry.
Different
Um,
roles. Yeah.
yeah, so you've got one of the good things is that there are different roles that you can have within the MES system. So you've got someone that's a developer that's sitting on the desk working with coding and doing the building all of the software modules that will be integrated into the MES system.
Yeah.
They are gathering requirements from the users, creating the documentation, and translating those user requirements into technical requirements for the developers. You've got a solutions architect that they are the ones that define, okay, so how are the modules going to interact between one another?
Right.
And then you've got another side, which are the testers. They make sure that what's being built into the system works as what's expected, and they
Right.
make sure that they just check mark those things. So there are several roles that you can have, and what I would recommend those people that are starting to this. So just try and see what's the thing that they like doing. If they like interacting with users, if they like being more isolated and working out by themselves, or
Yes.
if they like to build. If you see someone that's building with Legos, probably that's a guy that should be working as solution architect, right?
Right. Right. No, that's super cool. One thing I really like about what you just said that I think is underestimated is the idea of like actually give some thought to what you like doing. I in my own experience, a lot of people get into different types of work, and they're doing it, for other motivations, like it's got a fancy title or it's got lots of money, but actually giving some thought to what's the kind of thing that will actually make you bounce out of bed in the morning and want to go to work. It's important, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've definitely found something that you've got some passion in the work that you do, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I do like what I do.
Fantastic, man. We'll have to draw a line there. This has been a super super interesting conversation, but we have to have more to talk about when we bring you back. So thank you so much for your time, Jose. Thanks for rubbing the Mexican weather in my face. No, it was awesome to connect with you, and I'm sure what we've shared today will be helpful to someone that's looking for work that they love. And they've been able to hear what the actual work is like, what the real work is like through what you've shared. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. And for everyone, please be sure to subscribe, check out other videos, and pass them on to people, especially those that haven't quite connected with work they love. That's why we're here to help you connect with it. So thanks so much. Be sure to subscribe and pass around those videos. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.